Here it is, finally, the Proton S70, positioned as a C7 sedan by Proton, even though it shares the same platform as the X50, which is a B7 SUV, but I digress. I do think the S70's feature set makes it a very competitive option in the C7 market. Even if we were to compare it to B7 offerings in the market now, the S70 is certainly a step above in many regards, and we'll get to that in this video of the S70. Let's start with the front end of the S70. Because this is the flagship X model, you get projector LED headlights along with the sunroof on top. Besides that, there's also this nice new infinite weave grille that takes inspiration from the X90, but instead of the diamond studs being spread from the Proton emblem, this one spreads across the emblem, which does give the car a pretty nice and unique look in my opinion. Moving on to the side of the S70, it does look long enough to be comfortably a C7 sedan in my opinion, and again, this is the flagship X model, so if you got 17-inch alloy wheels, and despite the fact that these are pretty big alloy wheels, it does still offer a comfortable ride, surprisingly enough, as we'll get to later on in this video. The rear end of the S70 is, in my opinion, the best angle to admire this car at, thanks to this LED light bar across the back. I mean, at night when you're driving this car with your lights on, it will just look very nice on the road. In terms of boot space, you just open this up and you have access to 500 liters of space, which is good enough, I think, in my opinion. Well, now that we're done with the back, let's go inside the car. Once you get inside the S70, it's a very comfortable and, dare I say, premium space to be in. The steering wheel feels great. You've got soft touch material here, but as you go down, obviously you do get some more hard plastic, but overall it looks nice, it feels nice, and this is also the key, and it looks a lot like the X50s, which is a little bit bulky for my taste, but it's not too bad. Beyond that, I also like the buttons for the aircon controls here. It looks great, it feels nice to click, and there is also a wireless charger built right into the slot over here, and it has these raised edges to stop the phone from moving around, and it's also a nice rubber mat, and yeah, that's great. Another small touch I really like is the fact that the glove box is nice and dampened. Great job, Proton. As much as I enjoy being in the cabin of the S70, there are a couple of things that I don't quite like, such as the fact that if I want to change the driving mode, I have to use the infotainment screen, and this sunroof, if I want to open it up, I have to go through the infotainment screen as well. There are no buttons that allow me to open it up on my own, so it's a little bit odd. Here at the back, the S70 remains a very nice and comfortable space to be in. The front seat has been adjusted to my driving position, and as you can see, plenty of leg room to make it a comfortable journey if you want to go balik kampung or anywhere else across Malaysia. Besides that, Proton being Proton, they have thought to put rear aircon vents, which is a great addition to a car in this segment. Also, you've got USB-A charging port and a USB-C charging port. That's very thoughtful of Proton, I would say. I also appreciate the fact that this side of the door is nice and padded, making for a comfortable place for my arm to rest, and also cup holders and a nice place to rest my arms on. Great. So that's the interior of the S70. Now let's get to the good stuff, the driving impressions. So we're in the Proton S70 now, and we're driving it finally, and it is very nice. This is the ride and handling test, so it does ride quite well, quite comfortably if I might add, and for a car that rides on 17-inch wheels, I do have to say it's very comfortable, surprisingly enough, and obviously Proton has done some wonderful things to the ride and handling of the S70. I mean, it's Proton's famous ride and handling, and it is very evident in the S70 because this is not just a simple rebadge, guys, as everybody loves to talk about, because Proton did spend a lot of time testing this car on local roads, and they did do some tuning to the ride as well as handling. And if you're familiar with Proton's ride and handling, you do get it with the S70 very much so. Okay, we're in the slalom test now to just see how sharp the handling is. We're in the sport mode as well. Yeah, it feels nice, accurate, and I can feel where the wheels are pointing at. I wouldn't say the steering is numb, but I do wish for it to have a little bit more feel, but overall, it's very good. Again, Proton's ride and handling. So we're in the Toyota Vios now. We're going to do a drag race between the S70 as well as the Honda City, and
There's more enough space.
that's the first round, and we lost to the S70, and we'll see for the next rounds. So we're in the Honda City now, going against the S70 as well as the Vios, and we'll see how we fare.
Go!
Well, S70 again, not surprisingly. Do we have enough space? Oh my goodness. So we are finally in the Proton S70 now. Let's see how it goes. Bit slow off the acceleration, but with the turbo engine, it's an easy win. Very easy. And brakes are very, very good. And as you can see, we are braking first because we reached 100 km first, obviously. So those two cars are in front. And big win for the S70. The acceleration just feels so much better. And the braking performance is also very good because this is quite a fast car. So you would want good braking performance. So great win for the S70. There are a few more things that I'd like to highlight about the Proton S70 after driving it. The ride and handling, for one, has really been tuned for Malaysian road. According to Proton, they have spent over 75,000 man-hours testing the car on local roads, and they have covered a total of 1.2 million kilometers. So without a doubt, Proton's famous ride and handling is exemplified in the S70. And then we have the engine of the S70. It is a 1.5 litre turbo engine that outputs 150 PS and 226 Nm of torque. So no, unfortunately, it is not the TGDI engine found in the flagship X50, but it can still provide enough performance for the S70. Yes, it's not quite as fast as, say, the latest Honda Civic, but I reckon the S70 will be a much more affordable car compared to its Japanese rival. Speaking of which, I myself am driving the 10th generation Honda Civic with the Honda Sensing ADAS, and I can say with absolute certainty that the S70's ADAS is much more sophisticated, as much as it pains me to say that because I want my car to be, better, but that's not the case. In fact, when I talk to Proton, they say that the ADAS of the S70 is much closer to the X90 rather than the X50 or, even the X70. This in itself is a very, very impressive feat, especially for a C-segment car like the S70. But it is worth noting that the S70 doesn't have some of the X90 safety features, such as the auto parking assist. But for a car with this level of ADAS in the C-segment market, in my opinion, is great value for money. And that really is the biggest question right now. We still don't know how much the Proton S70 costs, but for what it's worth, in the drag race, as you've seen, it was compared against the Toyota Vios and the Honda City. So if you ask me, I would say they are planning to price it to compete very well against these two Japanese cars. So yeah. Nonetheless, we will definitely keep a close eye on the pricing of the Proton S70. In the meantime, like this video if you liked it, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and always stay tuned for more good stuff to come here on this channel and nextriff.com.